Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to A-Dub TV. Thanks for tuning in today. So, big changes since the last episode. You can see I am in the desert, and I have gathered lots and lots of resources. Yep, I think we're pretty much stocked up for building this place. Let's come up here and take a look at what I've done so far. So, yeah, look at all of that. So, I may have bit off a little more than I can chew. We'll see. So, as I said previously when we were building our wizard tower, thing that I like to do is go through with wool and mark everything out. Give everything a good, layout, mark out. I don't know what you'd call it. So I have marked out what the city's going to look like. This is a desert city, as I said, inspired a bit by Agrabah from Disney's Aladdin. So essentially over here I have the slums area, and we'll go talk about that little building down there in a little bit. And then up here, this is where the palace will go. Obviously, haven't completed any of this stuff. This is just layouts. Around here, this is what I want to be a little market square. This will be a fountain, but I'll talk about what I'm doing there as well. So over here, there will be a sort of like shop areas, things like that. And then we'll have nice little palatial estates. So there's a video game called Pharaoh and Cleopatra, and they have these real nice, beautiful palatial estates. So that's going to be like marble and bone block and some of this stuff. This is end stone, and this down here is oh goodness, what do you call that? Sandstone. So just making use of those cleaner looking blocks, and then so that'll be, we'll use that, and we'll also use the prismarine for the decoration of the blue. And also we'll probably stick some yellows in there by using yellow stain stuff. So let's come through here and take a quick sleep. Okay, so one thing that's going to be really important is a brown, the color brown. And so this here is my essentially brown dye generator. These, of course, are the cocoa bean pods. And so essentially what we have here is a system that more or less automatically farms them. So if I just click the button, I'll show you this for demonstration purposes, that washes everything off, and I just come around, I collect this, and then go boom, 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 and boom, 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 boom. And boom, 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 boom. And boom, 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 boom. Okay. And so those will grow up and give me more of this stuff, the cocoa beans, which dye things brown. So brown's going to be an important dye to have out here because of various, so we need various dyeing things. So we need to dye the hardened clay brown. We'll need a lot of brown stained clay, as well as little brown flags, I guess is, what do you call them? Banners. And I'll show you why we need the brown banners and over here. So this over here is our slums area. There's a scene in the movie Aladdin where he comes, he's up here and he's singing or something like that. I don't really know. It's been ages since I watched it. But I do recall a scene in Aladdin. Boy, I probably was a kid when I watched Aladdin ages ago. Wow. Okay, anyways, one thing I remember is he's here and he's sitting kind of, it's like a roof area and it overlooks the city and you can see the palace in the background. And so I figure, the slums area of Agrabah is up higher, built along the side of some sort of some sort of hillside. And if you look at like pictures of slums in real life, a lot of them they do sort of creep up the hillside. So you get this urban creep of slum buildings coming up the hillside. So that is the attempt here. So I laid this out, and then I did a little bit of. So I went through and I did a little bit of. What would you call it? Sort of like terraforming, just essentially making it so it's easy to come up these paths, and each one of these is on a level terrain, and it all looks more or less good. So that's the idea. Is this is going to be up high, and it'll have a little area where people can look. They'll be able to look out over their beautiful city and the things there. So this is our slum house, and so one thing, if you look at the houses in real life slums and in the movie Aladdin and whatnot, you see that a lot of them have these little connections between them. So you have like a smaller house down below, but then maybe there's a connection, or houses up top. There's a lot of mixing with colors, so there's a lot of different colors, usually browns, tans, and yellows, if you believe it, yellows and oranges, which works out really well for this clay. I went into the mesa and just dug out a ton of clay, so we shouldn't have any issue with getting resources for that. So we'll be changing up to various colors in here. Obviously, I think this color of brown and this color of tan that's going to be our main palette, but then we might switch it up. So I think this right here is like a light gray or something like that. So as you can see, this is why also we're going to need a lot of brown walls. This right here is our door. You can see there's not real doorway. Usually they just have a little thing hanging out in front of it. And so that's what we're doing with that banner there. That's an expensive banner to make. It takes, that takes 6 of those beans just to make that. It's because we have to dye this stuff. But no big deal. So coming in here, this is sort of the idea for, laying out the inside. Very compact, but with all the amenities. So this place is, maybe a little bit richer of the poor people. Maybe they've been here for longer, so they have a little piece of art, maybe a little couch going on, and that's their bed. And then you come from the bed and you climb up the stairs up to the second level. And they have a little chair here and maybe, like a little oven thing, their workbench, and somewhere to store things. And if we come over to this house over here, okay, this is a much more compact house. So you come in here, all you've got is the bed, a little area to cook, maybe a storage area, and somewhere for tools. So they don't have very much stuff. I might put like an item hanger there. And that's the only stuff they have. So let's come back up here, and then we'll go on the roof here. You've probably already seen something I'm doing. So another thing that I'm doing here is sticking these things up on the roof. You can see them down there as well. One thing that you notice when you look at some of this, like slums, or especially in like more arid climates when people build things, the rebar, you've got rebar or things like that are holding the place up. Typically in less arid climates, you clip off that rebar. Hey there. These guys like to sneak up here and give me a hard time. So in less arid climates, you're worried about, rust or something like that with this rebar. So, you cut it off, you put a roof on, so when it rains, the rain washes down into the streets or whatever. But in more arid climates, you don't have to worry about that. And it's kind of expensive. You got to have special tools to cut off rebar. So usually you see in some arid climates, the rebar, they just leave it sticking up out of the top of the building. And so that's essentially what this is. It's that look of the rebar sticking out the top. There's one last thing that I wanted to show you. It doesn't have anything to do with stuff that I have built. It's just with a little bit of exploration. So this area collapsed on me, and I've since dug out all the sand. And again, let's use the dynamic lighting so we can see. So we got some bad guys down here, but I was doing a little bit of exploration down here, and I found something that was really very neat. So coming in here, and I was saying, what is this thing? Because it looked very uniform. Usually these places, these little cave things are pretty random looking. And I saw something in the distance that looked really uniform, and I have never seen this before. It's an addition from 1.10, and I thought you guys would get a kick out of it. So check it out. This up here is a spinal column. Isn't that neat? Yeah, I knew that there were bone block. What would you call them? Fossils. I knew there were like bone block fossils that were added in 1.10 with the bone block that you could find underground. But I thought it was kind of something that you'd have to dig for, that it wouldn't ever be exposed anywhere. And let's see if we can pop up here through this water and see it. See if we can get this guy. There we go. Nice. Sneak on past there. Boom, boom. Okay. Yeah, so I thought it was something that you sort of dig through and you wouldn't see it exposed or anything like that. But this is pretty cool. It's sticking out. It's also neat because we are going to need some bone block. So let's use this dynamic lighting again so you can see. I really like having the dynamic lighting, being able to light things up so you can see what's going on. Yeah, so this is really this is a really cool situation. So yeah, I didn't know if you guys had seen that before. I thought that you would be interested in seeing that. So yeah, there you go. So I am going to do a little more progress on a little more work on the slums area out there, so you can see a little bit more progress. These episodes might be a little bit shorter. They might be a little more few and far between. We'll see how quickly I can pull them out. But yeah, we're going into a lot more detail now. We have a lot less of the resource collections and things like that. And since it's a city, you're going to see a lot of repetition. So yeah, you're gonna. That's just me saying that we're going to maybe be seeing a lot less of the major progress because when you're building a city, it's a lot more repetition. It's a lot more just getting the place populated with a bunch of stuff to make it look like it's alive, make it feel like it's alive. So I'll still be showing you what I'm doing, but it's gonna maybe be a little bit slower. That's kind of cool. This is interspersed with coal, which makes a lot of sense actually, since the coal and other like coal and hydrocarbons, things like that, they come from dinosaurs. That's where they come from. Not all dinosaurs. I mean, some of it is just from microscopic organisms. But that's how we have oil and things like that. Is you have old dinosaurs and old microscopic organisms. They get caught in the earth, and there's tons and tons of pressure on it, and that changes that. That changes that stuff. What do you call it? The carbon. So living organisms have carbon in their body. You probably know that. If it has carbon, it's organic, right? You've heard that, maybe. And so there's lots and lots of pressure on those things. And if you get pressure over, hundreds of thousands of years. Oh, goodness, it's dark out. Hate it. yeah, if you get pressure over hundreds of thousands of years, then it creates things like coal and oil and things like that. So you run your cars off of dead dinosaurs. So there you go. So I'm going to get to work on this, and then I'll come back to you with the progress that I have for today. Here we are. Nighttime. Oh boy. That guy just went flying, didn't he? Got my punch bow going on here. Well, I'm not finished. I still need to do a lot of detail on this area, but I wanted to put it to nighttime just to see how this place looks at night. I know it may be a little bit stupid of me, because maybe it might get blowed up, by Mr. Creeper Face. I hate Mr. Creeper Face. But dang it. Okay. But I think this place looks pretty cool so far. It's definitely has that Slums look here. I'm gonna switch it over, show you the shaders. Check it out. It's gonna look pretty cool. Haven't done this before yet live, so excuse me. There's probably gonna be a bit of lag here, but it looks pretty cool. So just bear with me. Okay, this is with Sonic Ether's Unbelievable Shaders mod. Looks very cool in here. I know the frame rate is a little bit lower than usual, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. That looks kind of funny, but anyways, that's this place at night, and I want to bring you up here. Hopefully there are no bad guys around here. I made a little area, so you're talking about, just a second ago, we were talking about Aladdin's perch, and that is what I have created right here. Okay, so little area, he's got the regs covering it up, and he can see the, what do you call it, the palace out in the background there. So let's take a look from this opposite window thingy, opposite rooftop. There we go. Kill that guy. Bam. Okay. So that's what it looks like from there. I think it looks pretty cool. I think this whole place actually looks pretty good. From what I have. Again, I'm going to have to detail it out a little bit. But, I think this is actually pretty good progress for one day's worth of episode. So, we basically finished the slums in one episode. So, in the next episode, expect progress. Maybe down here, we're going to work on one of the shops down in the marketplace. But that's going to do it for me today. So, that's it. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you liked the video, hit that like button. If you really liked it, hit that subscribe button. And thank you for watching so very much, ladies and gentlemen. And I will see you all in the very next episode of A-Dub TV.